Welcome back. So in this session, we are going to create our database administrators user group and create a user and also give the group the access to the parameter store. So I head to user groups and then create group. The group name is DB administrators. And for permissions, I will grant RDS read-only access and SSM full access. Now in real life scenario, you need to grant your database administrators full access to RDS, but this lab doesn't permit us because we are in the federated access environment, so we just stick with what we have. But in a real life scenario, you should grant your database administrators full RDS access, right, for them to perform the functions that they are to perform as database administrators. So once done, I'll click on create group. So once the group is created, I'll head to users and then create a user. And this time the username is Olivia. And I'll grant Olivia console access. The password is custom. And I will not let Olivia reset the password. So I'll now click on next. And I'll add Olivia to the DB administrators group. Click on next and now click on create user. So now that we have the user created, I'll copy the sign in URL, go to a new window and then paste the URL link just as we did for Nikhil, and we'll now sign in as Olivia to also test the access that we have for Olivia. Right, so I'll now sign in. So on the console dashboard, I'll open RDS EC2 Systems Manager and as well as IAM so that we test the access that we have for Olivia on those services. Now let's check on EC2 and I'll check running instances. And unfortunately, Olivia doesn't have access to read details or even see the instances that are running because we didn't grant Olivia that access. Olivia's access is limited to RDS and Systems Manager or SSM. Now on database, we are able to see the database. So we have read-only access to the database. If I should click on the database ID, I'm able to see other details about the database, including the endpoint URL. On Systems Manager, we have full access to the Systems Manager. So I head to Parameter Store and I'm able to read the parameters that we have there. I should be able to even read the credentials that we have in these parameters as well. Right, I'll head back to the parameter store and later we'll do some modifications to also affirm that we can still do, we have right permissions in the Systems Manager. Now on IAM, we should see that we are not able to read or list elements in IAM because Olivia doesn't have that permissions to also read items in the IAM service. So if we need Olivia to also have read access to both EC2 and then IAM, there is a need that we grant Olivia this access. So back to the main account, I'll return to the user list and I'll head to the user groups and I'll click on DB administrators. So add these permissions to what the DB administrators have. So I'll add the EC2 read only and I'll add IAM read only as well. Now attach policies. Now back to Olivia's account. On IAM, I will have to refresh for a couple of times because it will take a few moments for the changes to reflect. And then now Olivia is able to see the IAM resources. And if you head back to users, we are able to list the users in IAM. Back to user groups, we are able to also see the user groups. Now let's head to EC2, and on EC2, if I should refresh the page, we are able to also list the EC2 instances that are currently running. Now let's do a quick step back to the main account, and then still on IAM, I'll head to users and click on Olivia's account. So I'll go to the Access Advisor tab, and what's the Access Advisor does is that it shows the services that we have allowed on an account. It can even be a user group, right? It shows the services that we have allowed and the ones that the user have access in a time window. So I think the minimum is the past 4 hours, right? So you're able to filter through the services accessed and then the services not accessed. And from the access advisor, I should be able to see the services that Olivia have accessed and the ones that they haven't accessed. So it helps us to have fine-grained permissions for the user, right? So if I have granted about 47 services, and then let's say in the past 1 month or 3 months, if the user has accessed just about 4 of them, then it means that the remaining 43 the user doesn't need it. So there is a need to now refine the permissions that I've given to this user to, just restrict it to the few that they are accessing frequently. Now back to Olivia's accounts, we'll head to EC2 and review the role that was assigned to the EC2 instance, that is the Dev Cafe server, right? So we'll see Amazon SSM managed instance call. So these are the call permissions for the SSM, right? And then if you look through, you should see 2 parameters that grants the instance the permission to get parameters or read credentials from the systems manager parameter store, and that is the SSM gets parameter and SSM gets parameters. These 2 permissions gives access to the EC2 instance to read credentials from the parameter store of the systems manager. Now, if you recall the previous issue that we diagnosed when we were on Nikhil's account, our Dev Cafe site had connectivity issues, so we'll need to resolve that, right? So back to EC2, we'll copy the public IPv4 address of the Dev Cafe server and we'll visit the cafe website. Sorry, I made a mistake here. I have to change this to C instead of V. And yes, we have our cafe dev site, and to confirm the issue, I'll click on menu and we can see that the issue persists. Now, as we confirmed earlier, the dev environment used to be on a local database, hence it was having that username, but now that it is pointing to the RDS, we need to change that. But to confirm that it is pointing to the RDS instance, we can head back to the parameter store and then check the DB URL, and the value we have there should be the same value as we have on the RDS instance. So kindly take a closer look at this. We'll go back to the RDS where we have already opened the RDS instance, and you can see the endpoint is the same as what we have in the parameter store. So I'll head back to the parameter store, and to get the right username for the dev environment, I'll first check the prod.db user. So that is a production database user's username, and it should be different, right? And you remember we didn't have any issue with the production environment, so it means that the production environment had the correct credentials, and you can see this one is admin. So I'll just copy this and head back to the parameter store and now click on db user and edit. From here, I'll just change the value from root to that of what I copied, and that is admin, and click on save changes. Once saved, I'll head back to the cafe website and refresh, and we should have the connectivity issue resolved. I'll go ahead and place some order, and this should be submitted without any issue, and you can see our order is successfully submitted, and this is a confirmation message. So this brings us to the end of this hands-on. I'll see you in the next video, and in the next video we are going to refine the permissions that we have given to Olivia. So I'll see you in the next video for another hands-on.